kind of in here. So more on the Ty Haywood saga, and I've been watching this very closely, very strongly. I still feel good.
Yeah.
It's just it's all about timing with these things, but I'm still feeling good. I mean, what's kind of the latest chirping that you're hearing on timeline?
Yeah, so I told you guys last week that I felt extremely confident about Ty Haywood, and guess what? I still feel extremely confident on Ty Haywood. Ty Haywood, in my opinion, is a when, not if. It just comes down to when he wants to commit to Michigan. So he might wait till National Signing Day. It might come sooner. It really just comes down to that. The opportunity for him for another school to sneak into the race was this past weekend, and Ty Haywood did not go anywhere. He didn't visit any other school. It's just listen. We talked about this. You watched our show, you would know this. This is a Queen Jolene recruitment. Michigan's very aggressive here. They've been very aggressive since November, and it's transpiring how we all thought it would. I know there was some hesitancy on 247 side only because, and I don't disagree with their approach. Their approach is simply this: in this new era, nothing's guaranteed. They're not wrong. They're not wrong, but just considering the dynamics of it all, I've been extremely confident just from what I understand about the recruitment. And I'm here to tell you guys when Michigan lands Ty Haywood, Michigan will have the number 6 class for the 2025 year. And that's a hell of a finish to a class in September that was in around 20. I think it was like 18, 19, I was around like 20, somewhere around there. So, Michigan's done a great job with that recruitment. And if we land Ty Haywood, which, by the way, there was a moment of time where Ty Haywood lost his 5th star because Rivals is on some bullshit. I don't know what's going on with Rivals. I also want to just give a quick mention. Do not direct your frustration to Josh Henske. Okay, Josh Henske is a part of a site that is associated with Rivals, but he has nothing to do with the rankings. So give our guy Josh, a break here, because I've seen him getting some fire. It's not Josh Henske, so just lay off Josh Henske. But and he also, he has also commented that he doesn't agree with some of the ranking changes. And I don't know what Rivals is doing with that. But regardless, he got his 5th star back. He did drop to 32nd in the nation from, I think, 24, which is wild. Whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, rankings don't matter. What matters is what you see on film and his impact at Michigan. And Michigan's going to be in a position to bring in 3 5-stars, which is the most 5-stars in Michigan recruiting history in the modern era. It's exciting. And you could even argue Nate Marshall's a borderline. Well, not even. He is a borderline 5-star. He's a 5-star through some sites, 5-star. So we essentially have almost 4 5-stars. Hell of a class. Michigan's done a great job. But let's talk about the other remaining player, John. Zaire Mathis, who was also a target that Michigan was looking to close the 2025 class with. I said last week, per Sam Webb, that we give Sam Webb full credit on this, that Zaire Mathis was planning to not come to Michigan. And I got some shit. Some people were like, well, his coach said he's coming. On3 reported he's coming and all that. Look, man, I'm not here to like push anything that isn't legitimate. I'm just giving you what is being reported. And to be quite honest with you, Sam was right. So you don't got to apologize to me. I'm not looking for a damn apology for some of the people who wanted to give me some shit, but just realize this. Sometimes just wait, observe, and see what happens, because you never know who's right. Whatever side you are on these site war battles, okay? Sometimes the other side's right. Okay, like it's okay. Just remain patient and see the result. And then if somebody takes an L, let them have it. Okay, if they take an L, let them. But before that, chill out, because some of you look bad. I'm not gonna name no names, but you know who you are. And then we'll continue the next one, John. Let's talk about total targets for 2025. Rocco Spindler. This is a player that Michigan used to have a very strong relationship with when he was a recruit coming out of high school. They tried to land him. He did go to Notre Dame. It was an interesting situation, how that all went down in terms of transparency to the coaching staff, whatever. Well, he's re-entered the portal. He played very well this year. His PFF grades are actually really good. He's a very good, had a really good year in terms of production and performance. The issue with Rocco Spindler is, and this is where Michigan again is at a disadvantage. Michigan has reached a point where no one who comes into Michigan will be able to make winter semester. The other schools that Rocco Spindler is currently talking with, which are, I believe I have Indiana and Nebraska. Well, they will make an exception because that's how these schools operate, right? And that is not me discrediting those schools. I think Michigan needs to go a little lenient on some of their athletic exemptions. This is how it is in the rest of the college world. The other schools are willing to, even though it's past the registration deadline, they are willing to make an athletic exception. A lot of schools do this to allow him to then join the school in the winter semester and be a part of spring practice. If he was to come to Michigan, he would miss the winter semester and he would not be able to participate in spring practice. And because of this, I'm a firm believer Michigan has no chance. Now, that has not been reported, but just me reading the situation and understanding how this works, I do not feel optimistic about it at all. I feel very pessimistic about the Rocco Spindler. But I do have some optimism for you, John.
Let's hear it.
Pat Coogan, bro. Pat Coogan. Okay. He's the better offensive lineman, by the way. Pat Coogan is currently in a 3-team race, from my understanding. It is Texas and South Carolina. Michigan is working to get him on a visit, and they just so happen to secure a visit for this weekend. It is the last visit. And what also is interesting about this is Michigan is pushing very aggressively. Wink, wink. You feel me? They're pushing very aggressively. They want him. And you know how Michigan gets when they want somebody. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. I love getting the last visit. That's big time. I think Michigan has a great opportunity here. And I think Michigan, and there was a comment earlier in our show, John, they said, if we were to land one of the Notre Dame portal targets, how would you feel about this offensive line? Much better. I told you guys before, I do feel good about, Crippen at center, Al-Hadi at right guard, and then have Sprague at right tackle. That left guard, left tackle situation is a little interesting. Left guard's a hole. Lawrence Tatar does not join us until June. So we if we are able to land Pat Coogan, I'd feel very good about this offensive line, because let's also be honest, as critical as we were about Evan Link throughout the year, he played well at the end of the year. He really held his own. I expect him to get better with a year of a year of winter strength and conditioning, summer strength and conditioning, spring ball, fall ball. Yeah, the line should be pretty solid, I think. So let's hope we land Pat Coogan. If we don't land Pat Coogan, I do have my concerns at left guard. So, do you have anything on those, John, before we hit our next players?
So yeah, I think that we just have to remember with these that there are many schools, and that, like you've got listed obviously for Rocco, Nebraska, and Indiana as competent. I mean, we've got to remember that that a lot of these schools have holes. And Nebraska, I know, has an NIL program, and they will use it if they think a player's worth it. I don't think that they're at the level of an Ohio State, a Miami, and now a Michigan. But I do think that they have an NIL, and it's been reported that they have an NIL program. And even Cade McNamara talked about it like a year and a half on that podcast. But at the end of the day, we just have to remember that like Michigan's not going to win on every recruit. Michigan's not going to win on every portal pickup. But I do think you get Haywood and then you get Coogan. I think we're set. I feel much, much better picking those two up.
Yeah, the future of the offensive line looks good, especially when you look at last year's recruiting class and then 2025's recruiting class. I mean, the future outlook's great, but we do have an immediate need, and that's where the transfer portal can help us. Plus, there is always the spring transfer portal. We'll see what can come of that. But yeah, we can hit on our 2026, John.
Absolutely. Let's do it. So got a couple of 2026 recruits with an update here. I heard a thing or two about Brady Smiegel, and then he was trending a little bit more towards the Michigan side here now. What's going on?
This is another very interesting recruitment. And the reason why it's very interesting is because, well, the truth of the matter is, before Brady Hart committed last year, Brady Smiegel actually had Michigan as his number one team, and he was leaning Michigan. It was actually trending in a very good direction, but Michigan did take Brady Hart. I mean, we all know Brady Hart was a very good prospect, very promising. Well, we all know what happened with that. He decided to go to 2025 and go to Texas A&M. Terrible decision, but what can you do? Regardless, Brady Smiegel is the new target. Brady Smiegel is a 5-star quarterback for the 2026 class. Rivals is currently predicting him, and there's a lot of buzz. It's not just Rivals either, but they have the current prediction where they are predicting him to land at Michigan for the 26th class. He's a very good quarterback. I'm interested to do. If he does commit to Michigan, I'm excited to do his player analysis because I do have some takes on it. I do think he's a good player. There's one thing about him that I think is an interest. I think he lacks a little zip on the ball personally. But again, as he gets stronger, as he gets older, he should develop, a little more throwing power. I think honestly, so our boy Juju's, who's, a longtime viewer of our channel, he mentioned he doesn't know if he'd be a good fit for Chip Lindsey's offense. I actually completely disagree. I think he would excel in Chip Lindsey's offense. I think he excels in the 0 to 15-yard range. He has mobility. He can definitely escape the pocket. Think of like a Bo Nix-esque type of player in a way, in my opinion. I think he's an interesting, intriguing prospect. And as things pick up, we'll talk more about him. But I mean, it appears that Michigan's in a great position to land 5-star quarterback Brady Smiegel for the 26th class. We'll see where that goes. It's still early. It's only January, although I know Moose is getting a little impatient. He wants some commits now, not tomorrow, but today. But we'll get there. We'll see what the boys can do on that. The next player I want to talk about, and this is a big one, man. Malachi Lee, offensive tackle, one of the top offensive tackles in the nation, out of Hawaii. 6'6", 318-pound monster. What's interesting is Newsom visited him a few weeks ago. Well, guess who just visited him again? Sharon Moore, baby. And one thing that's very beautiful that I really want to focus on right now and show some appreciation is to Sharon Moore. He is far more, not a little bit more, but far more active recruiter in terms of on the road, building relationships, getting to know these players and families earlier in the recruiting process than Jim Harbaugh ever was. So that's nice to see. It's nice to see how much he's attacking. So, previously Michigan would have a lot of their guys hit the road. Jim Harbaugh wouldn't necessarily do that. So Sharon Moore is hitting the road as much as the other guys. And that is honestly impressive. It just goes to show that he's willing to put his hat on too. And, he's willing to pick up a shovel, put his hat on, and really, and there you go. There's the pictures of the visit. And it's great to see Sharon Moore identifying guys he wants to be cornerstone players of the class for 2026. And as we mentioned before, guys, they are looking to literally do better in 2026 than 25. They are looking for a top 5 class. And I think Michigan's doing a great job early on. I anticipate this to be a strong class. We'll see where it goes from there. And speaking of strong classes, John, and speaking of getting things to top 5, and speaking of landing elite wide receivers, and I know I saw Phil Buford's comment, so I don't have the update on that.
How about Chris Henry Jr.?
Yeah, so Chris Henry Jr. is currently committed to Soft U. He is a 6'5" X-type wide receiver, elite, arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the nation. And there is some smoke that Michigan is willing to be very aggressive with him. And in terms of NIL, in terms of they are looking. Here's what's interesting and intriguing to me, John. They are looking to find an elite weapon in the 26th class at the wide receiver position. And I love it because I think we would all agree that is an area in Michigan's recruiting strategy where there's maybe a lot more to be desired in that area. And it appears Michigan is looking to fill that elite wide receiver type in the 26th class. We already know that Michigan's in a pretty good position right now with CJ Sadler, who I would argue is actually borderline elite. He's excellent. And Michigan's in a good position for him. If you can land a Malachi Lee, that's major, man. That's the type of player who honestly starts as a freshman, gets playing time as a freshman, and a lot of playing time. If Michigan can do that, I feel like, yeah, I just feel like it's great. We're gonna place highlight tape here. There's some buzz that Queen Jolene might be on this. Okay, there's some buzz. I don't have that confirmed yet. Okay, I don't have it confirmed, so I'm putting it out there before I have it confirmed. But there's some buzz that this might be the case where she is willing to get in on this one, and we all know so far she's pretty much batting 1,000. We'll see, and I haven't seen the most recent comments. I know Philip Buford said there was some comments made by him recently, but I'm gonna tell you honestly, that means shit in January. I don't care what he said in January. But we'll see. I mean, it's an interesting development. And the thing that's whether we land him or not, right?
Yeah.
What is intriguing to me is there is buzz that Michigan is willing to aggressively pursue a player of this caliber, and do what needs to be done to land a player of this caliber. Again, whether we get him or not, it's not going to end at Chris Henry, right? They're going to find the next target if it does go a different direction. So I'm very intrigued to watch this unfold. Yeah, it's just interesting, man. So that's where we are for our recruiting update for this show, John. But yeah, I mean, I think again, Michigan's just doing what they need to do. I'm excited to watch how this transpires. February is gonna be an interesting month. It is a dead period, but we'll have all the updates for you guys as we get them.